great commentary for all my colleagues. I think one of the things we all have in common as veterans, we all made the pledge to protect our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I believe that the environmental crisis and what we're seeing is one of those enemies that's both foreign and domestic. And I think us being able to find some sensible solution. I am the mayor of probably the oldest continuously chartered town in the state of Virginia, the town of Dumfries, Virginia. And we were found, ironically, why were we? I always like to ask people, why were we the oldest continuously chartered towns? Because we were founded on a body of water called Quantico Creek that set off of the Potomac River. Now, over time, because of the poor farming practices that they had from plucking and picking tobacco and also drawing the iron nutrients out of that body of water, we begin to lose our harbor, our deep water harbor, which made us then really become economically depressed. And so Dumfries then no longer became relevant, and we became kind of economically depressed. We were no longer destination Dumfries, as I like to call us, as we're coming back to. And it was because of we see the nutrients and everything that kind of silted in our body of water that made us a deep water harbor that historically rivaled New York, it rivaled Boston, it rivaled Philadelphia during that time as far as the tonnage of tobacco and stuff that went out of there. Fast forward to somewhere around the 60s or 70s, we got a major problem in Dumfries with a power plant that came to town, and they filled up these coal ash ponds, right? And so coal ash has become a major problem and a concern that we are now in the process of coming to a solution. One of the proposals that I know that we're an advocate for in the town of Dumfries, and I think even Dominion is to have the simple fact that um, we have to have solar. We're looking at being able to put a bunch of solar farms up there in order to provide solution and alternative energy versus that coal ash. So to really repurpose what that has been used for and to do those type of things. Some of the other things I'm doing here locally that I think is really helping the power grid and us to do our part locally. I talked about it earlier before we started the press conference is being able to figure out how we can do sustainable things like create bathrooms in our parks that's totally off the grid. And so we first put the first bathroom off the grid that operates completely off of rainwater, solar power, and there's like something underground where all of the waste goes on and seals it in. And it's a much nicer attraction than a porta potty, and it still keeps everything kind of off the grid and naturally sustainable. I think that uh, and I urge, the decision makers to really invoke not just the what they've already done for us with the Defense Act, but to let's look at the Build Back Better America. Let's look at the funding that's available. If we can actually increase, I know for us because we're a historic community, that we can find ways to dredge our waterways, that we can find ways to add more money. I love the idea and definitely attach myself to every new gas station that opens up to having electric charging stations, right? We know there's a lot of funding available for electric vehicle charging stations and a lot of people looking for solutions and those type of things. And I am definitely open to those opportunities right here in the town of Dumfries and in our community as well. And really, I look for as well as people who have those clean energy type of policies to be really effective. And I've been really fighting to make Dumfries that deep water harbor again. And trust me, the way we know that there is a climate issue with the record heats we've gotten over here the last couple of weeks getting into June. Today isn't one of those days, but we've had temperatures that if you were standing outside on the concrete, I know my car at one set read 99 degrees, and I know it was 110 degrees outside when you stand on there. So we definitely see that we're getting record levels of heat. So there's something going on with the environment. I know that if we're not scientists, scientists can tell us that that is happening. So definitely wanted to share and attach myself to all the comments of my colleagues around the nation.